Coming up on the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, we're going to discuss the importance of leaves in your garden, how they can benefit your plants come next year, as well as getting your tomatoes ripened before the first frost happens. And we'll go to Chicago, Illinois, and speak with the seed keepers, Carol and Carrie, on seed-saving techniques and the importance of carrying on those traits from the plants you're currently growing, as well as your garden questions and our garden answers. Garden Radio's on the air, and it all starts right now.
You're tuned in to the only vegetable gardening radio show in Milwaukee, with your host, Joey Baird, who grew up in the country but now lives closer to the city, and Holly Baird, who has always been a city girl. Combined, they have over 25 years of gardening experience, who believe in simple gardening practices. A gardener for all gardeners, founders of the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, where they created over 800 how-to garden videos to teach others how to grow more of what they eat. Join them for the next hour as they discuss vegetable gardening and more.
It is the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show on 860 AM WNOV 860 and W293 CX 106.5, wherever you may be listening, however you may be listening, whether on those particular stations, the TuneIn app, the Simple Radio app, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com radio tab, or anywhere in between. We are live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I am your host, Joy Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
The WisconsinVegetableGardener.com is your destination for 1,000 plus garden videos, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, a whole lot more. And you can find previous full-length shows of the radio program here under the radio tab and in-studio video, as well as podcast form and highlights of the show on the highlight tab on the right-hand side, and a lot of navigation, a lot of information there on the website. The show is made possible by the great companies and sponsors you'll hear throughout the program, especially
Nasala Kombucha is the executive sponsor of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. Nasala is made in Wisconsin with local tea and natural herbs. Look for it in the refrigerator aisle at your local grocer. If you don't see it, ask for it, because if it's not Nasala Kombucha, it's not kombucha. Find out more at nasala.com.
There's a number of ways in which you can talk to us right now. One is by calling in the Ivy Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard hotline.
Ivy Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents, protects newly installed plants and trees, shields prune and damaged surfaces for use on your roses, fruit and nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. This product is non-toxic, environmentally safe, and organic. For more information, visit ivyorganics.com. You can call in to 414-444-5250 with your gardening questions or comments.
As well as you can tweet us using hashtag TWVG, or you can email us at any time during the week, anytime you've got a question, at twvgshow@gmail.com. That's a new email we got there, twvgradio@gmail.com, also will get us in contact with you. So it's fall now, weather's changing. We're going to plant garlic today. You can see all of how we do that on Tuesday, about our Tuesday video at about 7 o'clock on our website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, our Facebook page, the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener, our YouTube channel, the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener, so you can find out more about the planting of garlic. We talked about that on the program just about a month ago, so you can find that in the archives of the program. Well, what we're going to talk about today, since fall is here, is the advantages of using leaves in your garden and not just putting them on the curb for the city to pick up to compost at their own facility.
Right. So that's something.
And that's what a lot of people do. They just blow them out in the street, and they come by with a vacuum, they pick them up, and they're gone.
Right, and that's something that people don't even think about when it's such a great resource.
Well, they want to get them off the lawn because it's going to smother the grass out, and they want to be done with it. They don't want to have to compost, or they don't maybe not understand the procedures that how easy it is to save them. They don't want the lawn to be destroyed because a large matting of wet leaves can suffocate the grass, and you have spottiness, and you've got it looks like a dog has had a party in the front yard because there's no grass there.
Right, exactly. So what's the bonus about the leaves is that they are very nutrient dense, and that's what's important here. But
explain what that actually means.
It means that the tree's roots go deep down into the soil, into the underground
subsoil, the earth,
and so they're getting a lot of those nutrients from that.
the minerals of
the minerals and being deep down in the ground. So with that extends that into the leaves, and once a lot of those nutrients are going to go into those leaves, and so they make a great compost, which is a good thing for your soil.
Absolutely. Now people. We're one of the people in this category that we use all the leaves we have available on our property, and we'll get into all the different ways you can do this. But also, we will. There are people who will pick up bags of leaves of those individuals who just put them on the curb for the city to pick up during the specific pickup hours. They'll put them all in the back of the truck, take them home, and put them in their garden or compost pile. So we don't necessarily do that. We clean up everything within a block of the house, both sides, our property, and the neighbors know this, and they're more accommodating. They put the leaves in the street, we'll pick them up and take them to our property. But anyway, leaves can serve a number of purposes here, and one is to insulate tender plants during the frost and winter.
Right. So about a 6-inch blanket of leaves can protect some plants from winter, wind, and cold. So you could do things like carrots, kale, leeks, and beets, and then you can harvest them all winter.
Amish is very popularly known for doing this. They will cover big mounds of leaves over those types of plants over the winter months and actually create a miniature refrigerator to the point where it stays cool enough in the ground underneath the leaves, but not so warm that the plants continue to grow, and not so cold it freezes them solid in a block of icy soil.
Right.
So that's one way of doing it. Also, the one that we talked about a little bit earlier was the benefit of the putting them in your compost pile.
Definitely. So what they do is they're carbon rich, which means they have just really great nutrients. And
carbon, there's two different materials categories for your compost.
So carbon is the brown, such as leaves, twigs, even
dry material,
and then nitrogen is things like grass clippings, green yard waste, anything of that source.
Kitchen scraps, coffee grounds actually is in that category.
So that's going to be
well.
the more nitrogen, or known as the green. And so the carbon-rich leaves will help balance that high nitrogen and help work it out so that you have a good balance there and a good combination of both.
Well, while we're talking about composting leaves, how big of a pile do we need in order to make it successful? Realistically, as big as you possibly can make it. The book, quotation marks, the book says 1 cubic yard, which is like 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot cube, is what is recommended to have a good balanced compost pile. But again, you don't have to have it that big. It's whatever type of compost pile you have, as long as you're composting, it may take longer or it may take shorter period of time based on the size and the ratio.
Whatever fits for you.
Right.
Essentially. And whatever is going to be your need. If you don't have a large garden, you probably shouldn't make your compost pile half of your backyard.
Yeah.
So kind of think about that.
Well, let's talk about the improving of the soil by using leaves, and this is where we utilize 99, almost 100% of our leaves here in this particular method.
Right. So the soil is the lifeblood of your plants, and you want to always make sure that your soil is going to be healthy and something that your plants will be able to,
in our opinion, chemical free,
yeah, and something that your plants will be able to live off of. That's their food, is the soil, or what's in the soil. So you can mix these shredded leaves right into your garden, especially in the fall, and next spring your soil will be nice and healthy. You'll have lots of worms. Worms like leaves, to eat leaves. They look for food, and you'll attract a lot of worms, which are even better for your soil.
Well, we don't mix it into the soil. We just layer it 18, 20, 24 inches above on top of each grow bed. Some people, and by mixing them in, you're going to use a tiller to work them in the soil. You can use just straight, large, unshredded leaves. We do that if time is a crunch. We'll just dump the leaves on the garden, and by June, July the next year, you can't even tell the leaves were there because they've broke down into the soil. When we plant in the spring, we just move back the leaves that we need to move back the leaves till we see soil, plant our plants, and then move the leaves back as a living, or as a mulch that suppresses weeds and retains moisture. But you don't have to work them in the soil. You want, if you can, and we don't always follow this, you want to shred these leaves, because it's going to break down smaller particles, are going to make it easier for the microbial life as well as the worms to digest and break it down and work it in your soil, versus the large full-size leaves. But also, we all may not have leaf mulchers. Lawnmower does the same.
So explain how you do it with the lawnmower. That might be
okay.
not clear to some people.
If you do it with a lawnmower, you really want to have a bagger on it, because when you mulch these leaves in the yard, they're going to go to a fine particle and they're going to fall into the grass. So you're not really going to be able to rake them back up.
Yeah, but how do you get them into your lawnmower essentially?
The bagger.
Right, but
well, if you know the answer, why don't you
just tip the lawnmower over and shove the leaves into it?
No, you drive, you just mow like the normal grass and allow them to go under the lawnmower and go into the bagger that way. No, don't follow the recommendations on your mower.
Well, I just want to make sure people are clear on that.
Okay, so that's the way we utilize almost all of our leaves. Is we just mound them on top of the grow bed. All of our grow beds, and then they break down over the winter, and in the spring and by summer they're gone, but they feed the soil, and that's a great way of free fertilizer for your garden.
I wanted to touch here. You want to think about what kind of leaves that you are putting in your leaf pile. Walnuts, eucalyptus. I'm not really sure we have any eucalyptus trees in Wisconsin. I believe that's more subtropical. And then camphor, laurel leaves. They can contain substances that will inhibit plant growth, so you would want to compost them separately before you would put them in your garden.
Or just not even worry about those at all. That would be the best thing to do. Just not even worry about.
But if you have a eucalyptus tree, I'd be interested in finding out if you're in Wisconsin.
Let's talk about leaf mold, because we say composting leaves. The environmental term, or the science term, is leaf mold. What is leaf mold? And not really it's basically the same thing.
Basically, leaf mold it's a positive thing. It's a fungus of the broken down leaves.
It's just strictly leaves, 100% leaves. It's not a mixture of other items, so it takes a little bit longer for this to occur.
It's not real. I don't know if I would. I guess leaf mold is basically like the same thing if you're walking through the woods. That layer of leaves
on the ground.
On the ground is
the natural breakdown of the leaf particle.
But it's not mold in a bad sense. You're going to possibly get sick or something from it. It's a good thing.
It's a positive mold that's beneficial to the breakdown process of these leaves to release the nutrients back into the soil to feed the plants that'll feed the plants that you're going to grow. So that's the importance. And leaf hoarders, I would say we're in that category. There is a term for that.
Yeah.
Leaf hoarders. So, with that being said, there are other ways. That's what we would recommend using your leaves for. Now, we talked about this. What was it, maple spot, a couple of weeks ago?
The black maple spot.
That is
black tar maple spot.
Yeah, you'll see the leaf, and it looks like black paint on the leaves. People are worried about incorporating that into your garden. There's nothing wrong with that. You can go ahead and do that. Go ahead and use your leaves. Now, if your tree was sprayed with some type of spray to kill bugs in the tree or something like that, those leaves I wouldn't recommend using, because they still retain whatever chemical that was applied to it, and that can leach into your soil and cause a whole level of bad things for the following year. But if you just got natural leaves falling on the ground, then go ahead and use them. Another thing some people would not recommend is using the leaves that are put in the street, because the oils and the gas and the asphalt and all that stuff, we deal with enough toxicity in a day, and our soil does have a certain level of toxicity in it, that little bit. Now, if you're in a pile of oil, don't use those leaves. But if they're just in the curve, in the gutter, whatever you want to call that, we rake them up. And last year, if you watch our videos, we have 1,800 square feet in the large garden, and we put 40-gallon trash can fulls of unshredded leaves in that garden, and I still was short. And I did that over a month period, cleaning the street, half a block on each side of the house and on the other side of the street, and we still didn't have enough leaves.
Right, and you want to be aware also, if you are using your neighbor's leaves, just make sure there's no other random plants in there.
Well, the neighbor across the street, she said you can. She saw us picking the leaves up, and she goes, "You're more than welcome to ours. This is the yard debris. There's a mixture of stuff here, and these are pure leaves."
Yeah.
So our neighbors,
just be aware.
be aware, right? Because you don't want to bring in some kind of whatever it might be into your yard, your garden.
Plants can be good or not necessarily bad, but if it's some random yard debris that maybe you don't want, just be mindful of it.
People cut the heads off these plants that have seeds in them to get them off the property, and then mix them with leaves, and here you introduce them now into on your property in your garden. So it can be a problem. So just be vigilant, be nice to your neighbors, know your neighbors. Maybe your neighbors are not gardeners. Just say, hey, if you have leaves, Really would like to have them. Here's the reason why. If you're willing, is it okay if I take them?
I don't know. I would just start taking them, and then if they think it's weird, they'll probably.
Well, I don't think they'll complain if you
No.
start raking leaves on their property.
No.
I mean, if it's not
not raking their leaves, but taking their leaves from the side of the street.
Right. So when we come back, hopefully that has helped understand the importance, the value of leaves. That is more important to put them on your property than to give them to the city, for them to break down and compost, and somebody else goes picks up those leaves. When we come back, it's getting close to frost. Maybe we're going to have an extended length of season before the frost hits, but we've got some ways in which you can accelerate the ripeness of your tomatoes before that frost hits. Right after this.
Never miss a thing. Sign up for the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener newsletter. Go to thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com and click on the newsletter box.
The number one key to healthy, productive plants are the roots. Starting from seed to full-grown plants, rootmaker.com has the answer. From seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots, creating a fabulous root system, never again will you have root-bound plants, to multiple gallon grow bag sizes to raised beds. Rootmaker.com has your grow needs covered. Visit rootmaker.com.
Do you have a little space to grow? Check out Greenstock Vertical Gardens at greenstockgarden.com. Greenstock is engineered to grow with its innovative space and water-saving design. You can grow vegetables, flowers, herbs, and even strawberries in just 2 square feet of space. Grow up instead of out. Perfect for the porch, patio, or deck. Grow up to 30 plants in a small space. GreenstockGarden.com has everything you need to grow in the littlest of spaces. Proudly made in the USA. For more information and to purchase, visit greenstockgarden.com. Beans and Barley Market and Cafe, a neighborhood specialty grocery store for the east side and greater Milwaukee area, where you can find all you need, from fresh produce to bakery to organic frozen dinners, from wine to fresh squeezed carrot juice. A health food store with hundreds of products, vitamins, supplements, bath and body items, magazines, cards, books, and a knowledgeable staff. Catering available, open daily at 8 a.m. The restaurant serves breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week with a menu of good, healthy, homemade food, including vegetarian and non-vegetarian specialties. 1901 East North Avenue, Milwaukee, 414-278-7878, and online at beansandbarley.com.
I want a garden center that listens to and understands my needs.
I want to buy my gardening products from a local business with strong ties to the community.
All I want is a garden center that truly values their customers.
It seems like everyone is selling plants these days, but I'm having a hard time finding quality.
I take pride in my garden, so I want my garden center to take pride in their products.
Where will you be going for all of your gardening needs this season? Blue Mel's Garden Center. We are your answer.
Blue Mel's, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show with your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, your destination for over 1,000 plus garden videos, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and a whole lot more. And you can still get peaches and winter citrus here coming to the Milwaukee area at tree-ripe.com.
If you like fresh produce delivered right to your neighborhood, you should check out Tree Ripe Citrus Company. You can find out where to pick up the top quality produce from tree-ripe.com. They have beautiful, tasty peaches and sweet, juicy blueberries, and that really fresh citrus will be coming in winter. If you're sick of lackluster produce from your local grocer, True Ripe has what you need. They come right to a stop in your neighborhood, fresh off the truck. For location and schedules, you can visit tree-ripe.com. They have locations all over, including Iowa, Upper and Lower Michigan, Minnesota, Illinois, and right here in Wisconsin. Tree-ripe.com is your go-to for the freshest produce around.
Well, as the summer has dwindled away and the leaves are changing, we still have tomatoes on the vine. Now, we probably should have covered this topic about a month ago, but it still will work right now. Tomatoes are frost sensitive, which means when the frost hits, they will die.
That's what's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah,
they're
they're essentially a tropical plant.
Correct.
So they're not going to stand up to frost.
Now, there is some ways to prolong the life of your tomato plant, and then there's a number of ways here in which you can accelerate or help the tomato to ripen on the vine. Those green ones you still have on before the frost or even after the frost. So number one, our average frost here in Milwaukee we're in zone 5A, 5B, based on where you're at, is between October 11th and October the 18th. Now that an average. That's the average of the last 10 years calculated. Now last year we didn't have a frost until in our area, in our garden, until I think it was November that 18th is when things shut down there. But some ways you can accelerate or prolong the life of your tomatoes is by covering them when frost is going to come.
Right, especially if it's just going to be a light frost. You still, because we sometimes get that one light frost in the beginning of October, and you might still have a lot of good possible tomatoes on there. You don't want to necessarily go take all the tomatoes off the plant. You can cover them with like a bed sheet or some type of row cover, so that they can be protected from that one light frost.
If you're going to do a bed sheet, which is the cheapest, because that's be sure everybody who's using that bed sheet is
going to miss it that night.
You want to cover the plant to its entirety, and then cover. Make sure you put it weight down the edges so that it doesn't blow up.
Some rocks or bricks or something.
Right, and then in the morning, this is done right before dark. In the morning, remove that because the frost will already have occurred, so that plant doesn't get suffocated and hurt. It's because it's a lack of sunlight. Now, row covers are a different thing. We're just specifically talking about bed sheets if we're going to do it that way. You're wanting to protect the cover of the plant. Now, you don't want to use plastic. The reason being is plastic doesn't allow the plant to breathe. If you use plastic, any place where the leaf and the plastic touch, it will kill that portion of the plant.
Right. So if you
do it right, plastic, if you do it like a frame, that's fine.
You can, you want to tent it or frame it or something like that, but you're safest with some sort of cloth, like a bed sheet or something similar.
Right. So once we've got that established, tomatoes take between 20 and 30 days after the flower after you visually see the flower to form a fruit based on the size of that particular variety of tomato. So if you've got tomatoes on the vine right now and you're wanting to ripen, here's some ways in which we can accelerate that ripeness. One is to cut back on water. We don't have to worry about that. It doesn't rain much here anymore. But if you're watering regularly, manually, cut the water off. What you're doing in a lot of these steps is stressing the plant out to where the plant goes, I'm not getting the necessary water or nutrients I need. I've got to put on the fruit to produce the seeds internally to carry on the traits of the next generation. That's what all plants do. End of story. That's how that works. So cutting back the water. You can also...
You can... trim back
the growth tips.
Yeah, the growth tips. There you go. That's going to put the energy to the fruit.
So you want to you be able to see the growth on the top of the plant, the side of the plant. You just don't want to cut off those stalks where the tomato is located on. You want to cut off just the green stalks, and that's going to stop the vertical growth and again stress the plant out in order to help put more ripeness into the fruit.
Right. So and then you can also cut the roots 3/4 of the roots 4 to 6 inches from the base. So you would take your shovel, your garden shovel, your garden spade, and just go down.
It's okay.
About 4 to 6 inches away from the base of the plant.
Right.
And as deep as you can go, and just go around the plant and go. Think about a circle, 3/4 of that circle.
Right. You're cutting off a lot of that the availability for you're cutting the roots off that normally gives the plants nutrients. So that's going to stress the plant out. If you don't want to cut it, the plant that way, you can simply go to the bottom, the base of the plant, and then pull vertical enough to where you can start hearing things tear, and that will work as well because you're going to rip some of those roots apart and cause the plant to stress more.
Right, and so you're basically forcing it to stress out, and then because as we've mentioned before, plants don't care about us. Their whole desire is to reproduce. So if they're feeling stressed, they're going to start to make sure that's what they're doing, and that would essentially mean the tomatoes being ripened so that they can be part of their reproduction process.
Now again, this is you want to do this 25-30 days before your last average frost. We're too close to that right now, but you can still do this with the acceleration with the accessory of covering the plants if frost is apparent. And if you we've practiced with these methods. They do work, but also we are the kind of gardener that we want to go as long into the season as possible. Some people are done at Labor Day. Last year we ran all the way into mid-November, and we left a lot. There was some green tomatoes on the plant. Now, if you have green tomatoes on the plant, what can we do if the frost has already occurred or it's going to occur? If it's going to happen, like for example tonight, you want to go ahead and harvest your tomatoes now. You don't want to wait until the frost has happened and then harvest your tomatoes.
Like a heavy frost, you mean?
Yes,
Or you're
yeah,
not gonna
killing
cover
frost.
'em? A
Yeah, killing frost.
Yeah, you want to harvest your tomatoes
Prior to the frost. Right.
Otherwise, if it was a really hard frost or a possible freeze,
it can damage the fruit
it
itself.
would damage the fruit, and that's something you don't want either.
And we had late blight last year, which hurt a lot of the fruit that we had that was trying to ripen, because the late blight is the airborne pathogen or particle, the disease that actually embeds itself on the skin of the fruit, and it's not edible, it's not cannibal, it's not even compostable. First of all,
right? No, it's not good.
So
not
what can we do with some of these green tomatoes?
If you have these green tomatoes, you can lay them out by like a sunny window, and they will ripen.
They're not going to have the intensity flavor.
No, they're not going to have the intensity.
It's going to be a red tomato or a red or green or a white tomato, whatever color it's supposed to be. It's going to be that color, but you're not going to have that.
No, it's going to taste.
Flavor. Yeah.
It's going to taste like a store-bought tomato.
Yeah.
So what we've done in the past is we've made salsa with them, because then you're adding other things.
Juice.
Right, juice. You're adding other spices, herbs, other vegetables, and it gives them some flavor.
Now we're missing a big one here: fried green tomatoes, which
I
don't like, but you have some coworkers that love fried green tomatoes.
Right. So if you have coworkers or yourself, you could also do like a green salsa, like a salsa verde. That's an option as well for the green tomatoes. So and there's
that's like a canned green salsa. Isn't
well,
that what
you could just do it fresh too.
Okay, but you can preserve that in the canning procedure.
Right.
Okay.
And then if you have some tomatillos, you can use both and make that green salsa.
Right. And with the tomatoes, we didn't have, and we talked about this last week on the program, we didn't have good tomatoes this year for a variety of different reasons. You can find that replay on the website. Last year we had really great tomatoes, and we always harvest our tomatoes as the color changes on the bottom of the tomato. The tomato ripens from the bottom of the fruit and around the top. So when we see a pigmentation change in the bottom of that tomato, now if you're growing, there are varieties of tomatoes that are ripe when they are green. This doesn't apply to that, because that's a whole nother realm of understanding when it's ripe. We're talking about red tomatoes, white tomatoes, purple tomatoes, yellow tomatoes, pink tomatoes. The tomato ripens from the bottom up. So when we visually go through the tomato patch and look and see if there's any color change at the base of that fruit, and if there is, we will go ahead and harvest it early for a couple of reasons. Because it can, bugs can get in there and destroy it like the day before. We feel confident that if it's in the house on the shelf ripening, it's not going to get taken or destroyed by something. And the flavor is still there with those, because the pigmentation is already being changed. It's not like we're trying to alter the change of the color inside the house. So that's why we harvest the tomatoes early in our garden when we have the opportunity. Now cherry varieties and grape varieties and miniature pear varieties, that's totally different. We wait until those completely ripen. We're talking about the big beefsteak slicing tomatoes when we harvest them early.
Right. And so if you do have to harvest your tomatoes early for frost purposes, what you want to do is, if some do have some color on the bottom, let those ripen, save those for maybe something more of a fresh tomato type thing, and then the ones that may not be red or whatever color showing signs of ripeness on the bottom, then you want to make sure that maybe use those for like a green tomato purpose or something like that.
So with that being said, a lot of season is over for the tomatoes, and then we have the opportunity to figure out what to do next year to make the tomatoes better than what they were this year. And we've learned our lessons on that. So with that being said, we can also learn the lesson of maintaining our lawn and garden, or our lawn equipment, by working with Aaron's, and they can help you get your lawn ready to go for next year.
Do you hear that? That's your neighbor shaking in their grass-stained shoes, because Aaron's is about to help you step up your grass cutting game. Your name is on the mailbox, so that Aaron's name should be on your mower. Heavy-duty steel construction, smarter, smoother controls, professional cutting performance. The only thing we love more than the smell of freshly cut grass is the sweet taste of victory. Aaron's. It comes down to this. Visit Aaron's.com to find your local dealer for lawn and snow removal equipment.
When we come back, we're going to talk to the seed keepers from Chicago, Illinois about understanding seeds and the proper way to save them so we can better accelerate and get our crops to grow better next year in our garden right after this.
Have a gardening question? Email Joey and Holly at twvgradio@gmail.com.
Oh, yeah. What you say? You say Nasala Kombucha. It'll put some glide in your stride and some pep in your step. Nasala Kombucha. Yeah.
Nasala Kombucha makes your body happy. Nasala Kombucha makes your body smile.
The River West Co-op Grocery and Cafe is proud to support the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener and a lot of other Wisconsin growers as well. The co-op offers a wide range of local and organic produce in their store and on their cafe menu, from apples to yogurt and everything in between. Open 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. weekdays, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. weekends at the corner of Clark and Frackney in Milwaukee's River West neighborhood. See what is in store and check out the Co-op Cafe's delicious vegetarian menu at riverwestcoop.org.
Mycorrhizae is a beneficial fungus from PlantSuccess.com that will greatly increase your plant's germination, ability, and a healthier root structure. You can increase seed sprouting, root growth, and general plant germination. Mycorrhizae can be used with hydroponics, root cutting, seed sprouting, coco coir, and soil. PlantSuccess.com carries powder, granule, and tablet forms of mycorrhizae. Increase the level of mycorrhizae in your soil for your plants to give them the optimal opportunity to produce an incredible harvest. For more information and to purchase, visit PlantSuccess.com.
Garden seeds do not have to cost a fortune. Just 99 cents at migardener.com. With over 300 varieties of non-GMO, heirloom, and organic flower, vegetable, and herb seeds available year-round, pay less and get more seeds. Shipping as low as $2.50. That just makes sense. Go to migardener.com for seeds and gardening needs, tools, and special blend fertilizer. migardener.com. It's that simple. Family owned and operated.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show.
This is not a drill.
With your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
It's the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com. That's your destination for all things gardening. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, 1,000 plus garden videos, and a whole lot more. You can spend a lot of time. You can check out all of our Canning What You Grow videos and all of that under the Watch tab on the upper right-hand corner of the page. We can also check out the official garden center of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, Blue Mel's, where they have their fall items now: pumpkins, gourds, mums, bulbs, kales, as well as they're still doing landscaping. So if you need some landscaping done, you can give them a call and come out and you can tell them what you want them to do. They also can do lawn care for the rest of the year, as well as get that ready for lined up next year. If you're tired of cutting grass, you want to sell a lawnmower and be done with it, they can do that as well. Where can you find all of this at?
You can go to Blue Mel's at 4930 West Loomis Road in Greenfield. They're just south of Layton. You can call 414-282-4220 or go to bluemels.com.
As well as they have a coffee shop for you parents, as well as a playground for the kids. So then get a little separation going on. And the playground's safe. They've got that mesh rubber stuff that you can, fall on, never get hurt type of thing. I don't know which rubber, recycled
it's
tire.
Very, very cushiony.
Yeah, so it's a great place to get away from some, life for a while. Well, let's go to the Ivy Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard Hotline, Holly, and bring on our next guest. We're going to Chicago, Illinois for this.
Carol and Carrie are the owners and founders of the Seed Keeper Company. Residing in Chicago, their mission is to provide innovative, useful, and informative gardening products that inspire the innate desire of people to work the earth and to assist their goal to make the environment a better place by adding value through beauty and bounty throughout the harvest. Together, they developed a seed filing system for seed packets and captured seeds complete with tips and seed planting accessories. Welcome to the program, Carrie and Carol.
Hi. Hi.
Well, thank you so much, ladies, for taking some time out of your busy day to join Holly, myself, and all of our listeners to share some of your seed-saving knowledge with all of us.
That's a pleasure. We're glad to be here.
Well, now, of all the things that you ladies could have focused on in the gardening realm of outdoor activities, you chose seeds. And why did you choose seed saving and seed keeping as your goal and focus?
Well, I guess, what do they say? Necessity is the mother of invention. And at one point during this recession, the Great Recession we had, I thought to myself, I just cannot spend that kind of money on annuals and flats and soil and all these things. So Carrie and I, who have been friends forever and live very close, we thought, you know what, let's start these flowers from seed. We can do that. So I started flowers and germinated them. And, of course, along with that, I had never grown vegetables and herbs, and I thought, well, I might as well start a few of those while I'm at it. So while I was doing all that and growing the vegetable, seed saving became just a part of it because I realized that by growing the seeds that I had grown in my backyard, I would be making a hardier seed or a more zone-perfect seed for my environment. And so seed keeping became part of our seed starting, and so did our seed keeper, which you mentioned, to keep all our seeds in.
And there's also the element of satisfaction when you start seed yourself. I mean, we start between us about 1,000 plants from seed, and every time you put that seed in that puffed up peat pot or whatever growing medium you're using, and that first sprout comes up, there's just like this, it just like gives back this energy to you. It's just so exciting. I mean, we've been doing it for a long time, and we're still dazzled every year by that miracle, that, magic of the seed.
Yeah, plants want to grow, and sometimes they just need a little soil to do that.
And we get to take part in it. Isn't that grand?
Now, whenever you decided to do this and start all of your seeds, or the majority of your seeds, was there ever an aha moment going, man, this is a little harder for this particular plant, or maybe we took a little bit more off of the bone than we should have here, or did it go fairly smoothly for you?
Sometimes, that old saying, what you don't know won't hurt you.
Right.
When we first started doing starting plants from seed, one of the major plants that we started were impatiens, and that was before the downy mildew happened. And we just did it, and then we were told later those are very difficult seeds to start. And if you just follow the rules and follow the instructions, you can be successful. And if you're not, you can do it again. You can do it again. If at first you don't succeed, seed again. So nothing is really that difficult if you follow the rules and follow the plan. Seeds are really forgiving.
Don't be discouraged.
Definitely. So if you could explain the 3 types of seeds, the heirloom, organic, hybrid, and also what GMOs are.
Okay. Let's start out by talking about what an heirloom seed is. An heirloom seed, like in any heirloom that you would have in your family, that beautiful old plate or whatever that you pass down, heirloom seeds are just like that. They're seeds that have been passed down for generations. Some people say that they are seeds that are 50 years old or older, in variety, or World War II. But an heirloom seed, let's just say, is that historic seed that we're passing down from generation to generation. On the other hand, a hybrid seed is a seed that has really had multiple varieties of a plant that are kind of melded together. That geranium that has great bloom and great foliage probably came from plants that had one that had great foliage and one that had great bloom. A hybrid is not necessarily a bad seed. It's just a different kind of seed that you can't necessarily save from because it won't produce true to the mother plant. Now, both heirloom and hybrid seeds can be organic. Organic means that the produce that the seeds will be saved from has been done on land that has no chemical use. If you want USDA certification, they say it's 3 years of no chemicals. Let's be fair. A lot of people are growing organic seed. They don't use chemicals in their gardens. So those are the differences. What is a GMO? GMO stands for genetically modified organism, which all of us are. We're all genetically modified organisms. The big culprit in that area is GE, or genetic engineering. Typically, that type of stuff is used for very large production seed, typically for farms or things like that. We're really not using genetically engineered seeds in our own home gardens. So those are the differences. Where it becomes a problem is you have huge soybean crops that have been, they're using seed that has been genetically engineered. And that soybean goes on to become soy milk, and therein lies the problem. What we're producing at home, that's not happening unless you're using chemicals, and we don't. And one of the things that we really noticed about the MichiganGardener.com is all of their seeds are non-GMO, and they're all heirloom, and that's a cool site.
Now, just to clarify, hybrid seeds are not genetically modified. I want to make sure everybody understands that.
Yes, no, those are not genetically. Well, they're hybridized.
Correct.
You're having two things come together. You're not injecting things into the seed.
Correct. Okay. So I just wanted to clear that up there.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys touched on learning how to seed save a little bit. What are some of the easiest seeds to save? And what would you recommend buying new every year from migardener.com?
Well, I find actually I love saving any kind of bean or pod type of vegetable, snap peas, those types of things, shelling peas. Peppers, bell pepper seeds are really easy to save because they're dry inside the cavity of the bell pepper. And of course, jalapeno seeds are easy to save, but please, please, please wear latex gloves when you do so. My son just experienced a very hot nose after cutting up a bunch of those for me. And those are some of also lettuce. Lettuce seeds are great to save. They bolt early, and the seeds come up real fast, so you can keep succession gardening with your lettuce by just saving the seeds that come from the original plant. And don't let saving tomato seeds scare you. It's very easy to do. Also, one other thing, the selection that's offered at migardener.com is really pretty unique. They have so many different colors of sunflowers and the Blue Lake pole beans. Those are always fun to grow. They have several varieties of basil as well. I was just delighted when we went all over their website. We recommend it. That's a really great place to get some seeds.
Some cool cucumber varieties.
Really neat.
Really.
Yeah.
99 cents. Awesome.
Absolutely. And this week, M.I. Gardner re-upped with their contract for next year, and they're going to have 450 varieties of seeds starting November 1st.
Well, we're definitely buying from them. I can tell you that.
They're a cool story. They are.
Yes. Let's talk about your cool story about the Seedkeeper Project and explain what that is and how you go to schools and do what you do.
Okay. Well, when we started the Seedkeeper Company about 8 years ago, we decided we wanted a way to give back in some way, and we didn't know what that was going to be. About 1 year in, we became aware of a school on the south side of Chicago, Metro Curie High School, where students and teachers came together to start a school garden. So our Seedkeeper Project recognizes school gardens. We saw what was happening there, and we said, we need to send those teachers a seed keeper just for what they're doing. And we went, it was one of those aha moments, and we said, that's what we're going to do. We're going to recognize school gardens. So each year we recognize school gardens in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. Let's not forget about them. To date, we've recognized more than 350 school gardens. And what we do is we send them a certificate recognizing their win for the state. They get a Seedkeeper Home Farmer, a wonderful book called Gardenpedia by Maria Zampini and Pam Bennett. They get seeds from Seeds of the Month Club, and our project is underwritten by Corona Tools, and we are grateful for all of their support. School gardens are marvelous. They do so many things for students besides the obvious. You can tie them to curriculum for science and math, but we love what they do for kids. You learn process. You learn a love for nature. You learn how your food is grown, and you learn how to appreciate it at a much younger age. So school gardens are fabulous. We do this every year for 5 weeks. We put up 10 states. They're in alphabetical order, so you can kind of figure out where you're going to fall in that. Our project this coming year is going to start on Monday, January 28th. So what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to go on our Facebook page and nominate a school garden from your state if it's up for that week. And at the end of the week, we tally them up. The winner for that state is the winner for the Seedkeeper Project, say for Illinois or Wisconsin.
Well, I want you to share the story, Carrie, of the correctional facility, the school. If you can share that story about the kids that just were amazed by the school gardens, if you would.
Right. The Southwest Idaho Juvenile Detention Center probably is not a real happy place when kids are getting there, you know. I'd be scared if I were going to juvenile detention. Well, there's a marvelous warden, as they would call him, I guess. Really, he's like the school principal. And he said, you know what, we need to start a garden here. We need to give these kids some hope. And so they started this marvelous garden, and after the first year, they donated over 1,000 pounds of produce to the local homeless shelter. And those kids felt great, and we just thought that was such a marvelous story, you know. In a place that might be bleak, you learn something, and you walk away from that having, you know, maybe you get in touch with yourself, you get in touch with other people, you learn that you can do things, that you can have a positive impact on society, and we just think it's a very, very cool thing, and our hats go off to them. And the funny thing is, we awarded them. They were one of our first years, and we got a letter back from the principal, let's call him that, and he was just so excited that we recognized their garden, and we went, you know what, we're the winners here. When people teach children how to garden, they carry it on, and they may not do it forever, but they understand it and the impact that food and plants have on our society.
Definitely, indeed. Now tell us where you can find more about you and where to buy all of your lovely products.
Absolutely. Well, like Carrie said, when we do our Seed Keeper project, we encourage everybody to visit our Facebook page. You can find us on The Seed Keeper Company on Facebook. And on Instagram and Twitter, we're quite active every day on these forums. You can find us at @SeedKeeperCo. And we, of course, would love for you to visit our website, which is www.seedkeepercompany.com, and you can shop for all our wonderful seed keeping and growing goodies there. And please don't forget, we're going to be in Madison, Wisconsin for the Garden Expo in 2018, which runs from February 9th to the 11th, and we're in a corner booth this time.
Yahoo!
So we'll be in booth number 307. And also in March, we'll be at the Chicago Flower and Garden Show. We encourage everybody to get out there. It is a great getaway when you're a little tired of winter, and we all get a little tired of winter. Take in a show, enjoy the sights of Chicago, and come to the Chicago Flower and Garden Show. And that will be from March 14th to the 18th. And we have a different booth there as well. So we really look forward to seeing all our garden smiling faces out there at the shows. We hope to see you two there as well.
Yeah, we will be at Madison. I don't know if we'll make it to Chicago, but we will be in Madison speaking in February.
Perfect.
And
awesome.
Ladies, we greatly appreciate your time, your knowledge, sharing with Holly, myself, and all of our listeners about seed saving and the Seed Keeper project.
Thank you. Everybody grow something.
Yes, and we appreciate what you do by bringing the garden to people.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
And we'll be right back after this with your garden questions and our garden answers.
Have a gardening question? You can call into the ivorganic.com hotline at 414-444-5250 right now.
Do you have a problem with deer or small herbivores eating your vegetation? There is a natural solution that is safe for your pets and family. Bobex is the answer. An environmentally friendly solution to protect your plants, will not wash off, and is guaranteed. Bobex Deer was independently tested against 9 known competitors and rated 93% effective, second only to a physical barrier. Bobex can be used on all types of ornamentals, trees, and shrubs. Ask for it by name at your local independent garden center. Find out more, visit bobex.com. BOBBEX.com.
The international food selection at Woodman's is more than just salsa and soy sauce. We stock a huge selection of foods and ingredients from all over the world. Whether it's Asian, Latin American, European, or Middle Eastern, Woodman's has it. Plus, each store has its own unique selection. With Woodman's, you don't need to visit multiple stores to get what you need. We have everything you need under one roof and at a great price.
Hotchin Mill, 125 years of experience producing stone-ground organic flour and cornmeal made from premium quality whole grains. Family-owned company, continual standards that are non-GMO, organic at the highest safety levels, offering a wide variety of flours, pasta, baking mixes, flaxseed, and more, even kosher and gluten-free options. Found at most local grocers like Woodman's. For more information and recipes, visit HotchinMill.com. That's HODGSONMILL.com.
Hi, I'm John Lewandowski, retail manager of Blue Mel's Garden and Landscape Center. Now, I'm not going to tell you about our awesome dome-grown plants, our beautiful pottery, or our 40 varieties of landscape materials. What I am going to tell you is that Blue Mel's is a local, independent, family-owned garden center that truly cares about your garden or landscape project. So if you're looking for that one garden center that actually cares about you, come to Blue Mel's Garden and Landscape Center. We've been treating our customers like family since 1955.
Blue Mel's, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Garden Radio Show.
You didn't mention that I was a sailboat trailer expert.
Oh, yeah. We're coming here, and there was this trailer, and I didn't know what it was, and I said, oh, that's a sailboat trailer, which I didn't know that you had any knowledge of sailboat expertise whatsoever.
Well, I've grown up by water my whole life, so I know things.
Well, I know tractors, so there you go.
Okay.
With your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
It's the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. It's not the Wisconsin Sailor Boat Show, but Holly's got some expertise in that level too. The WisconsinVegetableGardener.com is your destination for over 1,000 garden videos, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and a whole lot more. And you can also talk to us right now if you've got a garden question on the Ivy Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard hotline.
Ivy Organic 3-in-1 Plant Guard naturally protects plants against damaging sunburn, insects, and rodents, protects newly installed plants and trees, shields pruned and damaged surfaces for use on your roses, fruit and nut trees, ornamental trees, and shrubs. This product is non-toxic, environmentally safe, and organic. For more information, visit ivorganics.com. You can call on right now to 414-444-5250. You really need to stop telling people I'm a sailboat trailer expert, because somebody's going to call in with a question.
Well, you might have the answer to it because you know about them. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know nothing about it. You may be able to guide them into the expertise for
it's the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener and Sailboat Trailer Show?
Yeah, okay. I guess that's what that would be. We had a number of questions come in on the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. And email, you can email us at twvgradio@gmail.com. twvgshow@gmail.com. And we had a comment came in about pickled beets. I love pickled beets. I was able to grow a few, enough for 2 pints last year. Now, some people think that may be enough for them. That's not an insult. That's
good.
That's good. So this year I am planting seeds every 2 weeks, hoping to get a lot of them. Thanks for the details. This is in regards to Holly's Canning What You Grow video on the pickled beets that you can find under the Watch tab on our website. I wasn't sure if they could be watered bath canned, so last year I just refrigerated them. Thank you for the information and your time. So they can be watered bath. You don't
pickled beets.
Pickled beets, right?
Right, that's correct.
Yeah, you don't want to pressure can them, but water bath. You can do refrigerator pickled beets as well, correct? That's what she did. The refrigerator pickle beets.
Yeah, you can do both.
Now we would recommend when you do a refrigerator pickle, based on the ingredients, you're only getting maybe up to 2 months of life out of that, correct? You can't do like a year in the refrigerator.
No, I think it's a little bit longer than 2 months, especially because you're adding that vinegar.
But it's not shelf stable like it would be. It wouldn't last nearly as long as if you just water bathed it and put it on the shelf. That type of. Okay, that's what I'm getting. Okay. When blanching and freezing kale, do you bring the water back to a boil each time you add a new batch of kale in it, or do you just continue to add it even though the water is warm?
So you want to, it doesn't have to be a full roaring boil. You just want, what you're essentially trying to do.
You're starting with a full roaring boil. Yeah.
Essentially what you're trying to do is just get that hot so that it does the blanching process, so that if you were to put the kale directly into the freezer without blanching it, it's going to get kind of disgusting. So the blanching process is the importance of getting to that super hot water. Now, you wouldn't just want like warm water from your tap. You want it to be close to boiling as much as possible.
And when we talk about blanching, we put it in the boiling water for a duration of time based on the ingredient or based on the item, then put it in an ice water bath to stop the cooking, and then dry it, and then put it in the freezer.
Right. So some people call it parboiling, and then it's typically called blanching.
Okay. Well, let's go to the IV Organics 3-in-1 Plant Guard hotline. And caller, do you have a question or a comment?
I hope you're talking to me.
Yes, I am. Go ahead, ma'am. Yes.
Oh, yes, I do have a question.
Go right ahead.
And it is in regards to corn.
Okay.
I bought a bushel of corn, and now that I have it here, I don't know what to do with it. And someone told me that I could wrap it in plastic and newspaper and then put it in the freezer until I'm ready to use it. What are your recommendations for me keeping my corn through the year?
So what you want to do is you actually want to husk the corn or shuck the corn, get the husk off, and then you can blanch it. You put in boiling water. You'd have to look it up. I think it's about 3 minutes. You put it in the boiling water and then put it in an ice bath. And at that point, what people will do, they'll either put it in freezer bags or they'll wrap each ear of corn individually in some tin foil and then put it in the freezer bag. Depending on what you want to do, they find the tin foil helps prevent some freezer burn if you're going to keep it in there for a long time. And then that way you'll have the frozen corn. You could also cut it off the cob and blanch it as well.
Okay, thank you for that. And now here's my second question, if you have time. Okay, and that is squirrels in your yard and in your attic. How can you get rid of them without killing them? Because they have somehow they've gotten into the attic, and in the wintertime they come in and they stay there. And we don't want, this is my friend's house, and don't want to kill them, but we want to run them away. How can we do it safely?
Okay.
You definitely want, once you get them out, you want to find out how they're getting into the house. That's very important.
Secondly, ways to keep them away is apply a chili powder mixture in your garden. If in that particular application, again, if they're getting into the house, we want to figure out how they're getting in the house and block that off. Whether with most likely with a, you don't want to use a spray foam because animals can chew through that. So you want to actually put a board or mesh netting where that hole is occurring. So they're getting in somewhere, and whether that be at the eave of the house or under, somewhere. So that's the first thing, and then figure out, plug the hole that way, and then that should work well.
But when you say mesh, can't they chew through the mesh?
Like a wire mesh.
Yeah.
A wire mesh.
Yes, a wire mesh.
Oh, like those little long things that you see. That they put over the, whatever you call those things up there, eaves or something?
Correct, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, wire mesh.
Or they also call it landscape not landscape, carpenter fab. It's a thick wire mesh. I'm not thinking. I know people are going to say, "Oh, what that is," but it's a wired checkered mesh. That's a very thick gauge wire.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, wire. Oh my God, it's so wonderful. You guys are so wonderful. Thank you so much for all the knowledge. What a wonderful show. We do appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much for listening. You have a great day.
Okay, we're having an open house down at the Women's Center if you would like to come. Call me at 933-1652. We probably have applications online at Wisconsin African American Women's Center, 3020 West Fleet Street. And our open house is on the, 26th of October, the last Thursday in October. So if you would like to come, we would love to meet you. We'd like to see the people that we're talking to on the radio.
Absolutely.
We just don't want to listen to you. We want to look at you, too. Do you think you would be interested in something like that?
Yeah, Holly's going to take down the number there.
Okay, 933-1652. I did know the website and all that stuff, but I can't remember all that
and
stuff.
What's your name?
They'll give it to you. I beg your pardon?
What's your name?
I'm sorry, what's your first name?
Ruby Jackson.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we appreciate you calling and supporting the program here, Ruby. And
I do. And thank you so much for all the good knowledge that you're providing for us. It's greatly appreciated.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Another question we got time for one more, is I want to start growing indoors over the winter. What grow lights do you recommend using?
Well, we use Happy Leaf LED, and the reason for that being is because the LED, well, for one, it's a smaller light, but it has a larger coverage,
and it doesn't produce heat.
It doesn't produce heat, and it's the LEDs are going to last a very long time. How long do they last?
50,000 hours minimal. That's 5.7 years continuous use, and that's just minimal. That's not saying that they're going to blow out at that point.
Right. So, and they're not super expensive, and since they're smaller, the LEDs, they're lightweight. So it's kind of ideal, especially if you have a smaller home, you don't have a large area to start your seeds. These are really ideal for that.
Well, and you can check out, there's a link on our website on the main page for Happy Leaf LED if you want more information. They got a variety of different sizes. And we appreciate the sponsors you've heard throughout the program, in addition to...
Nasala Kombucha is the executive sponsor of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show. Nasala is made in Wisconsin with local tea and natural herbs. Look for it in the refrigerator aisle at your local grocer. If you don't see it, ask for it, because if it's not Nasala Kombucha, it's not kombucha. Find out more at nasala.com.
Programming note, join us next week where we're going to talk about winterizing your home effectively and cost-savingly. Make sure your house is as efficient as possible to save you money on your heating bill, as well as how to make your own fruit scrap vinegar, and why we don't grow corn in our garden anymore.
And we're going to talk to this guy, Michael Carolyn. He wrote No One Eats Alone. He was in Milwaukee recently. So we're going to talk with him. He's an author about this book.
Yes. Miss any portion of this show or want to revisit in its entirety, you can find that under the radio tab on the website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, full-length in-studio video and podcast replay highlights of the segments and individual interviews on the highlight tab on the right-hand side. Until next week.
Holly Baird. I'm Holly Baird.
And I'm Joey Baird, and we will see you in the garden.